fresh out the box.
Fresh California plums.
Welcome to another episode of Fresh Film Fridays, the podcast where two dudes pick the newest films streaming or in theaters and discuss them. Today we're talking about 2022's Christmas Bloody Christmas, which was directed by Joe Begos. I'm your co-host, Alec.
Oh, I'm Eric. Just kidding, it's Justin.
There he is. What's up, Justin?
What's up?
It's Christmas. It's Christmas time.
Yeah?
And you decided to pick a horror Christmas movie, which I was a little bit surprised that you did. So, how'd you hear this one?
I heard of this on social media, just kind of getting passed around. It's a Shudder exclusive. And also, the main actress in this, Riley Dandy, I kept thinking, there's that one picture of her on IMDb where she's holding the shotgun all bloody, and she looks like that other actress from, you know that movie where all the rich people go to that mansion and hunt, like, regular people for fun?
Brittany Snow?
No.
Where they all sit at a table and, like, they just kill people?
No. I forgot what it's called. It's not very popular, but there's this other blonde actress, and she looks identical to her. I can't think of it.
There's not a lot of blonde actresses out there, so I'm kind of surprised you're having trouble coming up with this.
What are you talking about? There's like 1,000 blonde actresses.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Ah.
All right. Well, anyways, yeah. If you think of her later, just I guess let us know. Okay, so you heard about it on the social media, so people are talking about it. Yeah, dude, Shudder exclusive. Got my Shudder subscription going. I love Shudder. I'm a huge Shudder fan. Do you delete yours immediately when this was over?
Oh yeah, I did the Shudder AMC pack so that I can immediately delete it. It's actually pretty cheap though. It's if you sign up for it, it's 99 cents a month for the first year.
What, Shudder is?
Yeah, that's what it said on Amazon.
It's pretty good. Shit. Yeah, dude, Shudder's good. Shudder's got some good stuff on there. So if you haven't checked it out, I mean, this is a reason to do it, I guess. But there's a lot of really cool shows on there. Creep Show, History of Horror, In Search of Darkness. Those documentaries are awesome. Such a cycle of movies, horror movies that keep coming in and out. Like, we're not even sponsored by them, but I definitely recommend them. And $1 a month. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the movie I was thinking of was The Hunt that came out in 2020. And she kind of looks like Betty Gilpin.
Oh, sure. She's in Glow. She's in Glow.
Yeah, so I picked this one, and I also picked our next Fresh Film Friday episode, which is the mean one. Dude, I've become a big fan of, like, specifically Christmas horror movies. I don't know why. It's just, like, this cool subgenre of, like, you know, everyone's happy, it's Christmas time, and they're all wrapping presents and shit, and then they just all get killed.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first one we ever did on here was that Santa Sleigh, which is just, like, ridiculous, but it's fun.
That was more of like a comedy. That was like 50-50 like humor. This one did not have as much humor.
I mean, I don't think this one really had like any humor. I mean, unless you find the dialogue of the two main characters like funny. Aside from that, there's really not a lot of funny moments in this movie. It's pretty straight horror.
Yeah, didn't do too well. Got a 5.2.
It's only been out for like a couple days though. I mean, maybe with time people come to appreciate it more. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a Shudder original. I mean, it is in theaters out here. I did see it. It's listed in a few theaters, but I feel like that's not normal. Okay, so you like the horror Christmas movies. I mean, you've seen Krampus, then I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have like a favorite of all of those?
No, I really did like Santa Sleigh with Goldberg. I really like that one. I don't know if I have a favorite though.
Okay, there's quite a bit. Like there's Silent Night, Deadly Night. That's probably like the most famous, or Black Christmas. One of those are probably the two bigger ones. We did Black Christmas last year, you and I and Corinne. Yeah. This one though, you know, for what it is, just like a straightforward Santa is the killer. There's a Christmas movie on Christmas slashing horror movie. It delivers on what it is. You know.
Yeah, I do have a couple questions though. So this was kind of cool because it reminded me of Willy's Wonderland with the Santa animatronic. So. The company that made this Santa animatronic, they said, like, they're getting recalled because there's something wrong with them. I think they were, like, saying something weird. Was it only this Santa?
Yeah, so I don't really know. That, like, the thing is, we're supposed to believe that this world, that the U.S. government spent $1 trillion to make these Terminator robots, but essentially they're Santa versions of that. No real explanation, I don't think. And yeah, from there, then like the military's like, well, we're not really gonna use them to kill people. We're just gonna like send them across the country or whatever, and there'll be decorations, there'll be mall Santas, all of this stuff. And then they start going back to their original purpose and they start killing people. But it's just this one that we know of, yeah.
Yeah. So there's only two things I didn't like about this. One, which is my second opinion, is I guess kind of a stretch, but the first one I feel like is kind of legitimate, and I've seen other people nitpick online about it. The opening scene where they're leaving the radio store or the album store. Mm-hmm. Dude, they literally talked for like 20 to 25 minutes straight. Like, they talked in the album store. Really, really vulgar for, like, employees, too. Like, I was kind of like, whoa, this is like... And then they're talking on the walk to the toy store. They're talking in the toy store. They're talking to the car. And on the car ride home, I'm like, there's way too much dialogue in this. Like, again, going back to the last movie we did, which was... what was the one... Oh, Terrifier 2. When whoever wrote the script and people are reading the script, right, and then they're editing this, you're telling me no one's like, this is way too much dialogue.
I mean, this was written and directed by the same guy, Joe Begos, and I actually watched a interview with him from a couple days ago where he was just like, it was a little bit of improv, it was a lot of me just kind of writing conversations that I like have in my head. He's like, so these characters are like basically just two different iterations of me going back and forth with conversations that I have in my own head.
It's just too long though for like a movie that's an hour 26. Yeah. 26 minutes of that is just them being like, yeah, dude, like, fuck you, man. Like, I fucking eat pussy, man. I'm just like, what is going on? This is like...
I've heard, I did see a couple things online where it's like if Clerks wasn't funny and you didn't care about the characters. I was like, oh god, that's not. I mean, listen, it's a lot of banter, it's a lot of back and forth, a lot of like sexual tension, you know. So yeah, it's a lot without a lot happening, or without any explanation, you know, of like, why is the Santa doing this? It's really more just about like these two people doing the dance before they have sex, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and then my second opinion, I guess, which I don't know if everyone would find this the same, but so this Santa was getting the shit shot out of him. Mm-hmm. Shotguns, pistols, you name it. And the thing that did the most damage was like that sword. And I just didn't get it.
Well, maybe because, like, at that point it had taken, like, 99% of its damage or something like that. I don't know. It was fucked up by the time the sword got through it, you know?
That's true.
It wasn't like the beginning. Like, at this point, yeah, like, that's the thing. We don't know. It didn't have the same feel as Terminator where it's like, okay, we know this thing's, like, about to break. Like, I never knew how much damage this thing could take, you know?
Well, like, at the end, there were, like, 4 times where I was like, okay, it's finally dead. And then it got back up and I was like, oh, shit, it's not dead.
Yeah. Like, okay, so this is what I mean. Like, this movie isn't amazing. It's not groundbreaking, but, like, it for what it is, it gets it done. You know, like, it's a killer Santa Claus movie. It's a robot killer Santa Claus movie. It kind of starts to get repetitive a little bit. It's just kind of like this lead woman, Tori, just kind of going from place to place, and the Santa just going and, you know, getting shot down for a second, getting up, killing somebody, getting shot down for a second, getting up, killing somebody, her getting more hurt in the process. So, it was a lot of repetition. So,
also, did you notice how in the beginning, when Santa got hit with a shotgun, he, like, blew back against the wall, right?
Yeah.
And then when the police were shooting him, she shot him in the police station, and he literally didn't flinch. I was like, wait a minute. Dude.
Yeah.
What about, what are your thoughts on, so they were, the two main characters, Tori and Robbie, were in the car driving to Tori's place. The Santa was leaving the toy store, somehow knew where Tori lived, and caught up real fast to them. How did he know where they lived?
I don't know. I mean, the getting there quickly, I'm not that concerned with, because this is like, I'm not saying this specific one is $1 trillion, but these are very advanced military weapons, so I'm assuming they can run pretty fast. Maybe it can, like, scan her eyes and it knows her address from that. I mean, I'm filling in the blanks here. There's nothing in the movie that, you know, says this.
They should have had, like, a Terminator scene where, like, he briefly, like, read her license plate and like, it went to, like, his eye view where it was, like, scanning for data, and, like, he did something like that.
That, or even if he, like, touches her blood and he can, like, analyze her DNA or anything, and then, like, connects the DNA to, like, her receipts or, I don't know, anything. But yeah, they needed something to make that happen. Also, why did it just go for her? Why didn't it just start, like, killing whoever it saw? I mean, it does, but it seemed like it really had it out for her.
It really had it out for her. I'm not sure why. I'm sure it would have moved on eventually. Also, I found the cop who also looked like really similar to the sheriff. He was such a dick for no reason.
Yeah, he was screaming, like swearing and screaming. You're like, dude, what? Like, I know your friend died, but like, this isn't her fault. There's a killer robot Santa on the loose. I don't know what you want.
I really like the plot, right? About like a robotic Santa. I think it would have been cool. I was trying to think of like how to make this movie better, right? And tell me what you think of this. So, change the scenario to they're in a mall, right? It's like the day before Christmas. Everyone's getting their last minute shopping gifts in and whatever. And they have the robotic Santa. And like it's getting close to closing time. Mm-hmm. And like some like teenage kids are drinking something. I don't know. Let's say like a blue icy. And one of the kids makes like a joke. He's like, you like poured on its like face or something. And it like fucks up the Santa. And it ends up going like haywire. And like it breaks his circuit. So now he's like free. And he somehow like he goes up to like the security system in the mall. Closes all the gates. Trap them in. And basically they spend the night leading into Christmas trying to survive. And the Santa's just killing everybody there.
That's not bad. So it would be like maybe like the employees who work at the mall and like the security guard, and they're like closing up for the night or whatever, and they're like, "Yo, we should fuck with this thing or whatever." And then when they do, they break it. So that causes the Santa to lock down the mall, and they're all trapped in the mall getting killed.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah. So there's the reason the kids messed with it. 2 is now it has a purpose because it doesn't really explain in the movie why the Santa wants to kill people.
Yeah, right.
And again, like, we have to assume there's multiple of these Santas in every town, right? There's, like, probably every Christmas store would have one.
Like, there's probably, like, thousands of them across the country, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, it would have been really cool if the director, Joe Begos, ended it with, like, a clip of, like, she's being brought to the hospital in the ambulance, and she's driving by and looking out the window, and you just see, like, all these Santa's eyes light up in different stores, because I want to know what happens next.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with this. I don't need a lot of more explanation or whatever, but just like a little bit about why these things randomly are starting to turn on people. Why this one? Why is it following Tori? Like, there's a couple things I just need to know. If it's a murder, like a real person, like a Michael Myers kind of thing, I'm okay with not knowing why he's going after her. I'm like, okay, he's a psychopath. I think he's a crazy person. But when it's a robot, when it's like Small Soldiers or something, or like this, or the new Child's Play, where the remake, where it's like, oh, it's just like Amazon Alexa, like there's a bug in the system. I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time believing that it would just go killing on a killing rampage without a reason, you know? So yeah, I like your idea, but
they could have done a lot, like the husband and wife or whatever in the toy store, like before they were about to have sex and they were drinking the whiskey, they could have been like, oh, Santa wants some too, and like poured it in his face, and you just see him like blink and start twitching and shit. Like, it could have done anything.
Yeah, no, I agree. It needed that, yeah.
But again, for a Shudder movie that's less than an hour and a half, it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, like for what it is. For what it is, it does what it's supposed to do. It's not going to blow your mind. You know what? It's very stylized. I think if you see the trailer and you're like, ooh, I just like the way that looks, just watch it. Like, you're not gonna. It's not a bad movie. It's just not like like Hereditary or Midsommar. It's not something that's like, whoa, dude, that changed the way I look at movies. Like, no, it's fun though.
Also, the cover of it, like, they did a great job on marketing because it's super bloody Santa Claus with like this robot green eyes holding a bloody axe, and like it says Christmas, Bloody Christmas, and it's in red green lettering. So they did a great job with that.
No, they did. Like, it's, again, for what it is, it's not bad. But there was one thing, and this is just becoming like, because I watched so many horror movies, but like I'm starting to get pissed off about it, dude. When like I need one horror movie where they get the guy on the ground and they like hit him with a bat or something, just to stop crying and drop the weapon and be like, it's finally over, and they walk away. I'm so sick of that, dude. Like, I'm sorry, like, it's 2022, and it happened in this movie too. He, like, you know, whatever, uses the taser on the Santa and walks away and is like, and drops the taser, like, it's gonna be okay. And he gets up, and I'm just like, this is, guys, like, this is, we're done with this. You can't do this. This should be, like, outlawed in horror movies. You don't drop the weapon until, like, the guy's head is, like, Jell-O.